Tigers baseball on Fox Sports Detroit is presented by Bell Tire.
The Tigers roadshow moves to Minneapolis, where tonight they'll start a three-game series against the Minnesota Twins. Miguel Cabrera trying to find his swing after a tough series in Cleveland. Meanwhile, J.D. Martinez, he's back in the lineup tonight, continuing his assault on a 40-home run campaign. Hi, good everyone. Welcome to Tigers Baseball. Mario and Pemba alongside Rod Allen. Glad you're with us here for the lid lifter in this three-game series against the Twins. And who thought we'd be here, Rod? It's September. The Minnesota Twins are in the pennant race. The Tigers are not. They're not a team, the Twins, that have a lot of real big star power, but a lot of good veterans on this club.
They really do, and they're led by their manager. He's a Hall of Famer, and that would be Paul Molitor. He had an outstanding playing career, and he's off to a nice start as a manager. But when you start talking about the Minnesota Twins, they've got a couple of guys. One of those is Joe Mauer. He's a tremendous talent. He's an outstanding player. He's doing wonderful work with runners in scoring position this year, batting .360. The batting average is down a little bit, but he is quite the leader, batting right in the middle of that batting order. And then you've got the ageless wonder. That would be Torrey Hunter. He is 40 years old, and when they win games, Torrey Hunter hits over 300. When they lose games, he hits about 150. Torrey Hunter has had a torrid start here back in Minnesota. He homered yesterday, drove in 4 runs against Chris Sale. So you got a couple of veteran guys that are leading this Minnesota Twins team.
All right, who would have thought the Tigers would be spoilers? That is a position they are in right now, though. But when you think about the last 3 weeks of the season, they got to play with some pride.
They really do need to play with some pride. Think about last year. It was the Minnesota Twins that prevented the Tigers from clinching until that final day because they played the Tigers so tough. Now those roles are reversed. The Tigers are playing spoilers now here in Minnesota, and you're absolutely right. They've got to play for pride. They've got guys playing for jobs next year. It's going to be a really good series. I think the Tigers are going to show up.
All right, now J.D. Martinez continues his assault on 40 home runs. Legitimate shot to do that. Legitimate shot to get to 100 RBIs.
And he also really hits the ball well in this particular ballpark. J.D. has mad power to all fields, and that power has been on display in this particular ballpark. Legitimate shot, as you mentioned, of getting to 40 home runs. The only other Tiger in the history to hit 40 or more home runs in a season, Rocky Calavito, who hit 45. There's no part of the ballpark that he cannot reach. Take a look at the power that he generates from the lower half, from the waist down. That's where all the power comes from. And then he has the ability, because his hands are so strong, to climb the ladder as well and climb and hit high fastballs out of the ballpark. I saw J.D. Martinez in the clubhouse today, and he was studying tonight's pitcher, Duffy. I think he's going to sit on one of those curveballs, and if he does, he might just circle the bases here tonight.
All right, Tigers and Twins, game one just minutes away. After a short break, we'll send you back to the Call Sam Studios. Check in with Justin White. Coming up in this one here tonight, the first of 3 in Minneapolis. Tigers, Twins, coming up next. Bank. Raise your expectations of what a bank can be when it's time. Come to Comerica. Jeep, get a great deal on a legendary Jeep Ram vehicle at the Jeep Celebration event. And by M&M's Crispy. So good, they're back. And we are back to Target Field here in Minneapolis, where it is game one of this three-game series on a gorgeous night for baseball here in Minnesota. The Tigers road trip moves on from Cleveland to the Twin Cities. Anthony Ghost will be in the lineup tonight for the Tigers. In fact, he will get things started. We check out the Tigers starting lineup presented tonight by the Southeast Michigan Ford dealers. It'll be Ghost in the leadoff slot playing center field. Ian Kinsler batting second and playing second base. Good numbers this year against the Twins. Cabrera's at first, Martinez in right, Victor the DH, Castellanos at third, and a bottom three of Moya, McCann, and Romine, and they are facing the right-handed offerings of Tyler Duffy.
And Tyler Duffy making his seventh start of the Major League season after coming up from the minor leagues. He's pitched very well right here at Target Field. As a matter of fact, the opposition hitting just 118 against him. Fastball gets up to 93. His best pitch, his signature pitch is a curveball, and the Tigers, they're well aware of that. They will look for that pitch all night long. Let's take a look at the Minnesota Twins starting defense. It is brought to you by Tim Hortons, and it's a really good outfield. Torrey Hunter with 9 career Gold Gloves out there. Buxton has speed in center. Hicks, outstanding defender as well. Escobar, Dozier up the middle. Mauer, Plouffe on the corners, and Suzuki behind the plate. If the Tigers get on here this evening, they might want to exploit the weakness of Suzuki. There's been 68 stolen bases while he's been behind the plate this year.
Well, Paul Molitor has his team right in the thick of a playoff possibility. The Twins are just 1 game behind Texas for the second wild card position. Angels 3 back, Cleveland 4.5. But that Minnesota team, man, they are really playing some good baseball. They had a pretty good road trip, and now they return back home for a long homestand.
That was key for them to start to play some better baseball on the road. Their overall record is not very good away from this ballpark, but in their last couple of road trips, they had winning road trips, which was key.
All right, Anthony Ghost is stepping in against Tyler Duffy. We are ready for baseball here tonight. The first pitch of tonight's ball game is a ball outside to Ghost. Anthony has hit safely in his last 5, but he has reached safely in his last 10 in a row. Here's Duffy's 1-0 pitch, and he takes ball high. 2 balls, no strikes.
And Duffy's last start came in his hometown of Houston, Texas. That was 7 days ago. What they're trying to do with Duffy is they're trying to watch his innings. He's already up to 170 this year. If you combine the 149 he threw in the minors. And like most young pitchers, they're not going to allow him to get much more than where he's at right now. So they gave him 7 days rest in between that start and this start.
He is only 24 years of age, as Rod mentioned, out of Houston, Texas. And a ball missing high. 3-1 on Ghost.
This would be key if Ghost could somehow get on base. We already gave you the numbers on Suzuki. There's no doubt that Ghost will be off and running if he's able to get a base on balls here.
3-1 pitch is in fact going to be a base on balls. Ball 4 high. Leadoff man is on for the Tigers in this one. We'll bring up the number 2 hitter, Ian Kinsler. Kinsler at 303. He's hit 10 home runs this year.
55 multi-hit games this season for Ian Kinsler, which is the most in the American League.
Ian doesn't miss much action. Recently got a day off, but this is his 140th game of the season. There's Ghost taking his lead off at first base. He has swiped 20 this year. And Kinsler looks at a ball high as Duffy is having trouble locating the strike zone.
And Duffy concerned with Ghost over at first base, and he just kind of rushed in his delivery on that last pitch to Ian Kinsler, and therefore missed badly.
Now Duffy ready with the 1-0 pitch. Kinsler will take a hack, and he fouls it back out of play. 1-1.
Every pitch so far that Duffy has thrown has been a fastball. So if you're Ghost on first base, you know sooner or later you're going to see a curveball to Kinsler, and that might just be the pitch to allow you to get a good enough jump to steal second.
It was a little bit chilly in Cleveland, but not so here in Minneapolis. 82 degrees our game time temp. It is gorgeous tonight. Duffy again missing outside. Run the count 2-1.
This is the best lineup that Duffy has seen. He's pitched well in his previous 6 starts, but by far And this is probably the best lineup he's seen. He saw Toronto as well early. They beat up on him a little bit.
And we're seeing what the effect of the speed of Anthony Gose can have, not only on his at bat, but the next guy, Kinsler's at bat.
Ooh, there's a breaking ball.
And a strike call, 2-2.
And he absolutely loves the curveball. It's his signature pitch. It's an outstanding pitch. It's the main reason why he's in the big leagues, because he has that outstanding curveball. That's a good one to hit, however.
Threw a lot of those in his last start. As Rod mentioned, against the Astros, he had 8 punch-outs in that game. Of course, that Houston team strikes out a lot anyway.
Yes, they do.
Not to diminish his outing there. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Trying to figure out why Suzuki's going to multiple signs with not a runner being on second base. Usually the catcher just puts down 1 sign unless there's somebody on second.
So the count now fills at 3-2. Really very little chance of a sign being stolen with a runner at first base.
You would think there may be a reason to it. I'll try to find that out.
Cabrera waiting on deck. Just underway, a leadoff walk to Anthony Gose.
Jack Morris is somewhere around here. I'll go find Jack and ask him.
He'll know. Here's the 3-2 runner goes, and it's popped up left side of the infield. The shortstop Escobar to the grass. And Gose retreats. 1 gone. Here's a bat that the Tigers are hoping will get going starting tonight. It was a rough series in Cleveland for Miguel Cabrera, just 1 for 14. And it was strange to watch.
Especially against Cleveland.
Yeah. His numbers were off the charts against the Indians this year.
He was 0 for 5 in the second game of that doubleheader yesterday.
Perhaps they will pay here tonight.
Somebody will. And 4 of his 5 outs were made on the ground to the left side of the infield. Usually when Miggy has a game like yesterday, we grounded out the third a couple times, grounded out to the shortstop, he will make a conscious effort the next day of keeping his hands close to his body and trying to hit something the opposite direction. That's what gets Miguel back on track, when he starts to drive the ball to right field.
Well, wouldn't be surprising to see that right here. The catcher Suzuki out to the mound to have an early chat. There's the open spot in right.
Should he want to shoot that hole right there, but Miggy will be trying to hit that ball over the gate.
And a look at ball 1 down in the dirt. Throw from Suzuki, and safe at second base is Gose. Looked like Suzuki rushed his throw and made a poor one.
That's a gamble there by Anthony Gose. You love the aggressiveness. You see a ball that bounces in the dirt. You know it's going to be difficult for the catcher to pick that ball and then throw you out. But that ball right in front of the plate, and Anthony Gose able to get that left hand in there just ahead of the tag of the second baseman and Dozier. That'll go as a wild pitch.
That's how the runner advances officially. Miguel Cabrera's last home run was on the 26th of August against the Los Angeles Angels. He's only hit 2 since coming off the DL. It'll sail outside. 2-0. Well, they got a nice parking spot for him right now at first base. We'll see how Duffy wants to handle this situation. I don't think they really care that Cabrera has been struggling offensively.
No. They know that what we know, that somebody's going to pay sooner or later.
3-0 now on Miggy. However, the problem for Duffy is that J.D. Martinez is on deck.
Miguel has spent 13 years in the big leagues, and his career batting average is .320, which is insane.
Gose hits second, reaching on a walk, advancing on a wild pitch. Early scoring chance for the Tigers. And a strike on the outer edge. 3-1.
And now we'll see if Duffy has the guts to come back with another fastball here to Miguel. Or does he go to his best pitch, which would be the curveball?
Ball 4. So Cabrera gets a walk. That'll put 2 men on.
So they pitch around Miguel, but they have JD waiting for them, and he hits 379 here at Target Field. And then Victor behind JD hits 322 with 6 homers and 28 driven in this ballpark.
So the guy hitting behind Cabrera has 36 homers this year, 94 RBIs, but they'd rather face him than Miguel. And we'll see if Duffy can get the ground ball that he's in search of here.
JD will be sitting on a breaking ball. The one thing about Duffy, he's never seen the Tigers before, but Kurt Suzuki behind the plate is a real good leader. He has seen the Tigers a bunch, which started when he was catching for Oakland, and it's continued the last couple of years here in Minnesota.
The 0-1 is slammed to right field on a line. It's going to be short hop there by Hunter. And the runners had a hole to see if that ball would be caught. JD has a single to load the bases.
An absolute seed hit the opposite way by JD Martinez, and a nice job of base running by Anthony Gose. That's a fastball that's sitting on a tee for JD Martinez, and he just simply tries to whistle that ball the other way, which he did. And Hunter kind of got lucky there. That ball could have gotten by him.
That would have been a mess if it did.
No question about that.
Torrey taking a calculated risk there. So here's Victor Martinez. Bases loaded with Tigers in the first inning, and only 1 out.
In 2 starts here at Target Field, Duffy is holding the opposition to a 118 batting average.
Whoa.
They are only 4 for 34 against him in this yard.
It's pretty amazing.
No question.
Meanwhile, it's 0-1 on Victor Martinez.
Tigers are going to get more than 4 knocks tonight, though.
Here's the 0-1. Grounded foul. 0-2 on Victor. Martinez has been prone to hitting the ball on the ground and hitting into double plays. In fact, the entire Tigers team has, as you see Victor with the bases loaded. 5 for 8 this season. Well, Martinez has bounced into 15 double plays, so try and keep it out of the ground or off the ground. And a bouncing ball to second. Dozier flips to second 1. Here comes the relay. Make that 16 double play. So Duffy pitches out of the jam by getting the ground ball. We go to the bottom of the first. First, their starting lineup presented by the Metro Detroit Chevy dealers. And for the Twins tonight, Hicks, Dozier, Mauer, That's your top three. Miguel Sano, man, he's having a really good rookie season. The DH. Kloof is at third. Hunter is in right. You got Escobar, Suzuki, and Buxton at the bottom of their lineup. They are facing Kyle Lobstein, presented tonight by Family Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
And Lobstein is making his 11th start this season. Checks in 3-7 with a 5.31 ERA. Fastball tops out at about 91, sometimes 92. He'll also cut the fastball, has a curveball and a changeup. Needs to have more confidence in throwing his off-speed pitches, Jeff Jones told us before the game today.
Aaron Hicks in the leadoff slot for the Twins. 261 hitter with 10 home runs.
He's starting to perform a little bit better, Aaron Hicks.
Little chopper to third, foul.
And before this year, he really had struggled in the major leagues. No problem down in AAA Rochester. He's kind of mastered that league, but every time they would call him up, he would struggle. But he's performing better these days in that leadoff spot.
When he originally was called to the big leagues, he was called to the major leagues from AA the previous year. That was in 2013. There's a ball high and away.
That's one thing the Minnesota Twins aren't bashful in doing, calling up some of their prospects from AA. And they did it last year with Kenny Vargas. They did it this year with Sano. And you just brought up the fact they did it with Hicks as well last year.
Popped him up, foul, back into the seats. Former first-round pick Aaron Hicks. They've got some youth on this team that, I don't know, you kind of project 2 or 3 years down the line. This could be really fearsome offensive club.
It could be just like the Houston Astros team. It could be just like the Kansas City Royals.
But their youngsters have to develop. Now Lobstein with the 1-2. Line to right field, base hit. It's a leadoff single for Aaron Hicks. Well, the Bernstein Advantage brings you the scouting report on the next guy up, and that'll be Brian Dozier and what he has done since August 1st against left-handed pitching, and the numbers not very pretty.
No, they're not. 9 strikeouts, and the batting average just 136.
So he will face the lefty Lobstein here after the leadoff base hit by Hicks.
If you're Lobstein, you have to pitch Dozier away. He loves to pull the baseball, and he's got a lot of pulled power. 27 home runs this year, the majority of those to left field.
Showing bunt.
It's a great idea. Struggling against left-handers, why not try to bunt for a base hit and get that runner in the scoring position for Bauer, who is hitting .360 with runners in scoring position.
240 overall this year for Dozier. You see the 27 long balls. However, he finished a road trip in which he really struggled. 194 on their last 9-game trip. Dozier at All-Star this year. Looks at a ball high. 1 ball, 1 strike.
And take a look at the hits by direction regarding Dozier. Does not use right field very often. Therefore, if you can throw a changeup away, something soft, he'll hit it to the shortstop. And because he'll be trying to pull that baseball, and he might even hit to Castellanos.
Lobstein stays away, 2-1. Kyle's had a rough go of it in his 2 starts off the disabled list. He's allowed 11 runs in 10 innings of work off the DL. And he's facing a Twins team here that he first faced in his major league debut last year. Nubbed off the end of the bat, foul. 2-2.
Hicks does have some speed at first. He's stolen 11. He's been caught 3 times. But more than likely not going to get the kind of jump that he desires to steal a base with Lobstein on the mound, being a left-hander.
There's the toss back, chasing Hicks back. 11 steals this year for Hicks. He's been caught just 3 times. Now a snap throw, and Hicks dives back into the bag. Joe Mauer will be next. We're in the bottom of the first, no score. Game 1 of 3 between these 2 clubs. fly ball right field. J.D. Martinez cruising back. Runner will tag but hold.
Let's take a peek at the Tigers starting defense. It is presented by Beaumont Health. Martinez goes Moya in the outfield. Romine, 6th game at shortstop since September 1st. He's had 17 chances and no mistakes. Castellanos on the left side of the infield with Romine. Kinsler, Miggy on the right side of the infield. And James McCann is the catcher here tonight.
Here is Mauer batting .268. 8 home runs this year for the Twins first baseman.
And Mauer has grounded into 18 double plays this year.
Snap throw, and the runner just back in there. Hicks.
That's a design play between Miguel Cabrera and also James McCann. There was some kind of initiation by McCann, and Miggy was alert and ready for it.
So it's the catcher typically that will shoot the sign out to the first baseman?
Yep. Sometimes the catcher will take some dirt, just kind of simply throw it in the direction of the first baseman. The first baseman will answer with the glove some kind of way. They have a sign between each other so you know. Otherwise, Miggy would never know that ball's coming down there as hard as McCann throws.
1 ball, 1 strike.
And it could be initiated the other way as well if Miguel feels like Hicks is getting too big of a secondary lead at first base, and then he has to get the attention of the catcher, but he has to get the answer as well from James.
Mauer shoots 1 foul, back out of play, in the count 1-2.
Mauer not having his typical year as far as the batting average is concerned. And batting just .268, but his numbers with runners in scoring position are very good. He still has those tremendous leadership skills.
The career numbers for Mauer, .314 average.
That's 12 years of work too. So you have 2 guys here. Mauer 12 years, Miggy 13 years, both guys with .314 or above batting averages.
Mauer has won 3 batting titles in his career. He's won an MVP as well. Waiting on deck, one of the bright rookies in the American League, Miguel Sano. Two balls, 2 strikes on Mauer. Just a couple of steps off the bag. Hicks is chased back. Lobstein made 6 rehab starts between Toledo and Lakeland before coming back up to the big club. The Tigers getting some good news in that Sanchez and Daniel Norris will be splitting a start in the final game in this series. So they'll be coming off the disabled list.
Butch Davis, the first base coach for the Minnesota Twins, has a stopwatch in his left hand, but Lobstein really has not given Hicks his best move yet. Therefore, I don't know what the value is really to having a stopwatch when he's throwing over as slow as he's been throwing over. They use stopwatches for everything these days, partner.
Yes, they do. Drilled to left center field. That ball is going to get down. Base hit, split the gap. Over to cut it off is Moya. They're going to stop the runner at third base, and it's a double for Joe Mauer.
And Joe Mauer with that patented swing. He saw a lot of pitches and he finally got a breaking ball that was hanging. Jeff Jones told us before the game that Lobstein's got to get better with his breaking ball. It's a real nice job in the outfield by Stephen Moya, who's acquitted himself very nicely to that left field position, getting over to cut that ball off, which prevented Hicks from scoring from first base.
2 base hits, second and third with 1 out. Here is Miguel Sano, designated hitter tonight for Minnesota. And Sano looks at a ball outside 1-0. NGM Grand brings you the scouting report on Miguel Sano. Here are the hot zones.
Don't throw it down the middle.
Apparently not.
Inside, down the middle, and inside. He was killing that baseball. You want to go up top to him. 0 for 13, 0 for 13, 0 for 7 in all three of those areas.
Inside 2-0.
He's been striking out a lot. It was not very good on the just completed road trip for the Minnesota Twins through Chicago, Houston, and Kansas City. But they kind of go hand in hand, strikeouts and home runs. And he's got a lot of power in his bat.
And he tried to hold up, but he went around. There's a strike call, 2-1. It's Ted Barrett, the stoic Ted Barrett, the first base umpire. Sano on the recent road trip was 4 for 27. To illustrate your point.
Well, 12 strikeouts, too.
Yeah. Now the 2-1. Off the inside part of the plate. 3 balls, 1 strike. Lobstein and a jam. In fact, both starting pitchers in a first inning jam. And he lost in ball 4. That'll load the bases.
Duffy was able to get a ground ball to get himself out of the jam that he was in the first inning, and now it's going to be Lobstein that needs a ground ball to get himself out of this jam as well. Trevor Plouffe has grounded into 26 double plays this year, which is the most in the major leagues. And boy, does Lobstein need a ground ball here.
Well, here is Trevor Plouffe. .250 batting average for Plouffe. He's got him loaded here. Plouffe has power, 20 home runs. In there is strike called on the outer edge. No balls, 1 strike on Plouffe, who hit .367 on their 9-game trip. Just off the plate, 1 ball and 1 strike. Lobstein already up to 22 pitches.
If you're Lobstein and ultimately you want to get Plouffe out with a fastball or a changeup away, you have to show him in 2 to get back to the outside corner.
High fly ball right field, chasing J.D. Martinez back. Track, wall looks up against the wall, and it rolls away from J.D. 2 runs will score. Sano coming to third base. He'll stop there. And it's a 2-run double for Trevor Plouffe.
All 3 pitches there to Trevor Plouffe were on the outside part of the plate. And even though he's not known for driving the ball the other way, he knew that Lobstein was not going to come inside. Therefore, he looked out there, and that ball was off the plate. That is a ball that's off the plate that he barrels up and hits off the gate in right field. A catchable ball for J.D. I'm not sure J.D. knew exactly where he was as he ventured onto the warning track to the wall.
Runners had a hold because they were not quite sure whether or not that ball would be caught, but once it ricocheted off the wall, they were able to get 2 runs in. Hicks and Maurer came in to score. And now here is Torrey Hunter. 2-0. Twins have the early lead. Hunter batting .238. But he has 19 home runs. Second and third, only 1 out. Ball 1 to Hunter as Lobstein bounces 1 in.
And Torrey homered in yesterday's game against Chris Sale. Can you believe they have beaten Chris Sale 4 times this year?
I saw the numbers, and I was watching some of their broadcasts yesterday to kind of get caught up on the Twins, and the numbers they were showing against Sale were unbelievable.
He is 1-4 against them this year's Sale with a 6 ERA.
But would you agree this is the type of offense that could have success against a guy like Sale, because they do I always say the little things. They don't have too many big boppers up there that swing for the fences.
Yes and no. It is Chris Sale.
All right. I'll grant you that.
He's Chris Sale, man. He's got 250 strikeouts.
Is that good?
That's really good. Usually I'm with you.
1 ball, 1 strike. Inside on Torrey.
He's going to have to do more of that. And we've had guys like Hunter, who took a swipe at right field. Plouffe tried to hit the ball the other way. Dozier went the opposite way. And so did Joe Mauer. So that's a sign that shows the pitcher is not going to go inside. And they all know that.
Hunter sends a slow ground ball to the right side of the infield. Nobody covering first. Lobstein never got there.
Oh, my goodness.
That is not good. And it's 3-0 Minnesota. Infield hit.
The one thing about this play, it really is not an excuse for Lobstein, but this ball is basically hit towards second base. So if you're Lobstein, you're thinking that Ian Kinsler's going to make this play. Then once you see Miguel go over in front of there and make this play, there's no chance for you to get there. So he got caught watching because he thought that Ian Kinsler was going to make the play.
Yeah, that's a good point because Miguel came way off the bag.
Miggy was in front of Ian Kinsler there. But still no excuses as a pitcher when the ball's hit to the right side of the infield. You got one job.
So you get Torrey and RBI, make it 3-0 Minnesota. Runners at first and third, still only 1 out.
But you see the effect of the inside pitch there.
Absolutely.
He sawed Hunter off because Hunter was not looking in there.
Here's Escobar. Strike 1. Eduardo Escobar, a little bit of power, has 10 homers, 266 batting average. He has done some really good work defensively.
The Tigers started off the season here in 2015 absolutely wearing out the Minnesota Twins. They had won the 8 of the first 10 meetings. And then all of a sudden that Friday night here where they had that loss with Verlander looking to get his first win of the year, when the Twins scored 7 runs in the 9th inning and they walked the Tigers off, and all of a sudden now they've got tremendous confidence against the Tigers. They're picking up right where they left off in that series.
There's a strike called, and out of there on strikes is Escobar, 2 away.
It's a good fastball. And Mr. Foxtrack is saying it's a hair off the plate, but Chris Conroy gave that call to Lobstein. If he's going to give you that, you might as well continue to go in there, Kyle.
Here is Kurt Suzuki. Hit just 179 in their recently completed road trip. Veteran catcher. With runners at first and third. We're talking about that Dozier home run that highlighted that 7-run inning and really kind of sent the Tigers on a tailspin. The Tigers, since that Dozier walk-off on July 10th, 21-36.
I had a sick feeling in my stomach after that night, that home run.
I can't imagine what it was like for the coaching staff, the players.
Gut-wrenching loss.
Lobstein just threw his 31st pitch of this inning, and he misses high. And now there's action already in the Detroit bullpen. Kyle Ryan.
Oh, Randy Wolf threw what, 50?
He did.
Yesterday in the second game of the doubleheader.
He ended up giving the Tigers, what, 3 innings. One ball, no strikes on Suzuki. On the outer edge, 1-1 the count. Two RBIs for Plouffe in this inning, another for Torrey Hunter on an infield single. 3-0 Minnesota early on. Kurt Suzuki, a veteran of a few different big league teams. Oakland, Washington, of course the Minnesota Twins. Here Here is Lobstein's 1-1. High, 2 balls and 1 strike. Twins have done some of their best work, actually their best work period, at home here. They're 42-26 in this ballpark. And despite a really rough record on the road, they are smack dab in the middle of the wild card chase.
They played good baseball under their rookie manager, Paul Molitor.
Slice to center field, and that ball is going to drop. Base hit, another run will score. Suzuki gets an RBI hit. Hunter gets back into second base, and now it's 4-0. RBI for Kurt Suzuki, is 45th of the year. A little looping single to center field.
You know, we were talking about Molitor on that Friday night when his team came back. He knew his team was struggling against the Tigers. And after that day, he made some quotes in the newspaper regarding how big that win was for his team to kind of get over the hump of kind of beating the Tigers. Tigers had won the last 4 division titles, and they pretty much were beating up on Minnesota again.
Here's Byron Buxton. Bouncer foul.
Here's what Molitor had to say. And when you're really trying to beat a team that's kind of had your number and the losses keep mounting, it just seems like the pressure builds a little bit. And I think that was alleviated a little bit with that walk-off home run that Dozier hit in the previous night. So he also recognized how big that hit was for Dozier when they were able to come back that night.
Twins won, or the Tigers won 6 of the first 7 between these two teams. The Dozier homer was huge, without question, not only for the Tigers season, but I think for the Twins season as well. And Dozier an all-star this year. Hate to flash back to it, but it was such a big part of this season. And when Brad Ausmus was asked about that home run, he said, no doubt, it's one that sticks in his mind and has all year. 0-2 on Byron Buxton. Got a balk now, and that'll advance the runners to second and third. Things unraveling here for Lobstein.
Yeah, Lobstein not having a good first inning, was not getting over to first base. Then you have the balk, and just not a good start today for Kyle.
Hey, everybody. Hey, that's a balk.
Yeah, they called that from the dugout.
Buxton fouls it off. Well, by all accounts, Byron Buxton is going to be an exciting player once he gets his legs under him as far as being a big leaguer. He's hitting just 187 this year, but the skills are kind of off the charts in terms of potential.
Yeah, they believe that at some point in time he's going to be a 5-tool player.
Got a chance now to knock in 2 with a base hit. Ball low. 1-2 on Buxton. Aaron Hicks started this inning. He's waiting on deck. The Twins batting around here in the first. Buxton pops it up. Right side of the infield. Cabrera calling off Lobstein, and that will finally end the inning. However, a big inning for the Twins. They played 4, and we go to the second. 4 in the first, and now Duffy has a nice little lead to work with here. He had himself a rocky first inning as well, but he pitched out of it by getting a double play ball with the bases loaded. Castellanos, Moya, and McCann as we go to the top of the second at Target Field. Duffy threw 21 pitches of his own in the first inning. Nick Castellanos batting .250. Looks at strike one from Duffy. 4 out of 12 in the series against the Cleveland Indians. Here's the 0-1. He slings that one outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
If you notice now, Suzuki only giving 1 sign to Duffy. And the reason why he was giving multiple signs with the base runner on first base is you want to make sure that base runner is not looking in and trying to see what signs you're giving. Therefore, the multiple signs were given to Duffy with Ghost standing on first base just in case Ghost was trying to peek in and cheat on stealing on a breaking ball.
Well, you would know this better than I would, but isn't that extremely difficult to do from first if the catcher's doing his job and hiding it?
Yeah, it's difficult, but if they only see the 1 sign or they see a wiggle, that might entice them into trying to steal. But you're right, you don't see it very often. You don't see many catchers doing the multiple sign thing, so apparently it's something the Minnesota Twins do.
A strikeout of Castellanos, 1 away. It'll bring up Steven Moya. Had a really good game in Cleveland. He had a couple of hits, a walk, a triple. Moya 2 out of 4 with the Tigers.
He put on an impressive display here today in batting practice, hitting balls into the seats in every direction.
Didn't you say he went upper tank here?
He sure did.
Look how big he is.
He's huge. And the play he made yesterday in the game, the throw, tremendous.
I like the analogy you used on that ball that he threw the runner out from left field with. A young Dave Winfield. He's got that kind of build.
Yeah.
Massive power. Here's the 1-1. Swing and a miss. Moya, the Tigers minor league player of the year last season, was slowed by an injury at the start of this year, so never really got his traction going, but he did finish with 20 homers. At AAA, that is. And he got up strike 3. Moya caught looking and grimaces as he goes back to the bench.
And both of the strikeouts in this inning by Duffy, both on the breaking ball. Castellanos swung right through his. Moya was frozen on his.
Uncle Charlie with 2 outs. Here is McCann. .271 for McCann. His terrific rookie season continues. And he throws a strike with a fastball 0-1.
All of a sudden, Duffy with a 4-run lead coming out here in the second inning, attacking that strike zone, pitching with a lot more confidence than he did in the first.
Swing and a miss. No balls, 2 strikes on McCann. Duffy, originally called up on August 3rd, was sent back down on the 6th and then returned on the 14th when Phil Hughes was put on the DL. Hughes will be coming off the DL tomorrow to pitch against the Tigers. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And McCann looks at strike 3. He strikes out the side. After facing a bases loaded situation in the first, it's a 1-2-3 second. When the Tigers battle the Royals at 7:08, Comerica Park becomes a galaxy far, far away. It's Star Wars night. First 10,000 fans receive a free Star Wars night poster. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER. Lobstein goes back to work, and a swing and a miss by Hicks.
Remember when Chewbacca came up in the booth about, 5-6 years ago?
He scared the you-know-what out of you.
Yeah, he did. I had to check my britches.
He snuck up behind you. Here's the next pitch to Hicks, a swing and a miss. You think he's going to come up again?
Yeah, I hope not.
Hicks, Dozier, and Mauer. Single to start things off in the first, the 4-run first. And Lobstein missing low, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, Lobstein knows what to do after the first inning and the 4 runs they scored. He must pitch inside. Every last hitter that went to the plate in that inning was looking away, and a lot of those guys were successful, and many of those guys are not guys that go the other way. They're dead pull hitters.
Swing and a miss, and an awkward swing there by Hicks. Much better start to the second for Kyle.
That's a better located changeup, fading away from Hicks. You see what opened up the outside corner, though. You see all those pitches in the inside.
Yeah.
The first 3 pitches inside, so you see him cheating for the next one inside, and all of a sudden that opens up the outside corner for you to get the strikeout. He couldn't have done it any better than he just did it.
Well, let me ask you this: if you're a hitter, I mean, don't you know he's probably trying to set you up when he comes in 3 times? At that point, aren't you looking away?
No, not. You're really good hitters, absolutely. But Hicks doesn't fall into that category yet. He's still very young, just the second year in the big leagues. After 3 pitches inside, he's thinking inside again because he just got a base hit the other way. So he's thinking he's not going to go out there again.
Dozier fly to right field in the first inning. He busted him inside there. 1 ball, 1 strike.
First 2 pitches were inside to Dozier. Now they're going in there 3 pitches in a row.
That one missed, 2-1. Dozier has 65 extra base hits this year, good for 4th in the American League.
You talk to a lot of people that watch the Twins play on a nightly basis, and they will tell you he is the MVP of their team.
Get back out of play.
Scores a lot of runs. He plays every day. He plays the game the right way, and he's got some power.
Really, I guess the only thing he hasn't done this year is hit for a high average.
Which means his numbers with runners in scoring position aren't very good either, but you see his ranks as a second baseman. There's not many better, if any.
Dozier an all-star this year. Fouled straight back.
It was between him and Cespedes were on that final vote. He won that final vote, didn't he? Oh, he was in the final vote, but then somebody got hurt, and then they named him to the All-Star game.
Right. And Dozier hit a home run, a pinch hit solo home run in the All-Star game. 2-2. Another pop-up foul back out of play. Dozier, I guess you could term as one of those gritty guys. Signed a 4-year deal in March, so they want him to be around here as long as possible. March 15th, middle of spring training, they signed him to that 4-year deal. It floats outside, and the count is now 3-2.
A couple of years ago, when he made his major league debut, he made his debut as a shortstop. He struggled that year, was sent down to the minor leagues, came back as a second baseman, and as you mentioned, made an all-star team this year. Led the American League in runs scored last year with 114.
And he's going to walk in with ball 4. It's a 1-out base runner for the Twins. It'll be the second walk issued by Lobstein. Here's Joe Mauer. 2-base hit into the gap in left center field in his first at bat. He scored a run.
Joe's older brother, Jake Mauer, manages in the Minnesota Twins organization, and they're going to call him up when their season is over. His team is in the playoffs, and it'll be a reunion between the two brothers. in the big leagues. He'll be called up as a coach.
Know that, really? Joe, of course, a local kid, went to Cretin-Durham Hall High School in St. Paul.
That's the same school that his manager went to as well,
yep,
Mr. Molitor.
And a couple of umpires, Tim Cheetah, Mark Wegner.
Good school, I guess.
Apparently so. In there for a strike. 0-1 on Mauer. Joe, in the month of September, has slowed a little bit, just 233 coming in. Now the 0-1. Fouled away. 0-2. Lobstein threw 39 in that first inning, 39 pitches, hoping for a quicker second, but he's already walked a batter. Mauer not too bad against lefties, 269. And he's over 270 now with his double back in the first. So they play Mauer defensively. Into right field. That's going to drop base hit. Dozier goes to second, and Joe Mauer now is 2 for 2. Twins already have 6 hits on the board. We'll bring up Miguel Sano, who had a huge walk to load the bases in the first inning, and that set up the double by Plouffe. Sano is DHing. He is not playing in the field. He has a little bit of a bum hamstring right now, so they're taking it easy with him.
Dozier, who is out at second base, is 10 of 12 in his major league career in steals of third base. So that's why Ian Kinsler is very close to the second base bag right now, holding him on.
Ball 1. Sano waits on the 1-0 pitch. And it's outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Yeah, dangerous count here to Sano should Lobstein try to sneak a fastball by him.
That's a strike on the outer edge. 2-1. Sano is the American League Rookie of the Month. Back in the month of August, 9 homers, 26 RBIs in August. Pretty good RISP this year, 295 for the youngster. Missed inside, and now he's gone 3-1. Kyle Ryan once again warming up in the Detroit bullpen. The watchful eye of Mick Billmeyer. And, he's just told Billmeyer, I guess he's good to go if needed. The 3-1. Ground ball back in the middle. He may be needed. Here comes Dozier rounding third. They're going to send him home. Goes his throw. Not in time. Single and an RBI for Miguel Sano.
And Sano worked the count into his favor. 3 balls and 1 strike, and that's a dangerous count for Lobstein, who was not able to throw that ball by him, and he singles sharply up the middle, and that's going to be it for Lobstein. Real short night tonight.
So Lobstein goes 1 1/3. He will depart in the wall side windows pitching change, and Minnesota has a 5-0 lead.
One of the reasons why it's a short night for him, he did not pitch inside enough, did not show inside, and guys that really don't hit the ball the other way were doing so this evening against Lyles Lobstein. Opposite way for Hicks. Plouffe went the opposite way for a double, and a ball to Sano was away from him that he hit right back up the middle as well. So when you're not a hard thrower, there's another one that's outside, you have to at least show inside. And tonight Kyle didn't do that early enough, and that's why it's such a early departure for him.
And he allows 7 hits in 2 1/3, gives way now to Kyle Ryan.
And Ryan has made 5 starts in the big leagues, making his 13th appearance.
Ball 1 to Trevor Plouffe. Still only 1 out, another run in, 5-0. Twins have the lead.
It's been a while since Ryan pitched in a game. You have to go back to September 8th against the Tampa Bay Rays. He pitched an inning in the 3rd, and zeros across the board.
2-0. Plouffe had the big 2-run double in the first inning. And Ryan missing outside, run the count to 3 balls and no strikes on Trevor Plouffe. Kyle came up prior to the game on September the 1st in Kansas City, his 4th stint with the Tigers this year. There's a strike call, which may have been a tad generous. 3-1. Torrey Hunter waiting on deck. Ryan's numbers overall were not very good in the minor leagues this year, but he pitched very well in the month of August, and that's why he's back. And another strike, 3-2.
Ryan nearly made the team out of spring training this year. He was one of the final cuts, and for one of those bullpen spots. That spot went to Nesbitt. That final spot.
Yeah, I forgot about Donhell Nesbitt.
I know, we ain't seen him since.
Fouled away. It looked like he might stick all year the way Nesbitt pitched early in the season.
Right.
Kyle is out of Auburndale, Florida, which is near the Tigers' spring training home of Lakeland, Florida. 11th round pick in 2010. Just off the plate outside. And that's going to load the bases now. A walk to Trevor Plouffe. That is the 3rd walk for Tigers pitching already in this game. Lobstein had surrendered a couple.
And the Tigers walked quite a few in the nightcap yesterday as well. They walked 6 Cleveland Indians. But they were still able to win that game.
Torrey Hunter had an infield single in his first at bat. And he'll take a strike on the outer edge.
How about Torrey, man? 40 years old, still getting it done.
He turned 40 in July. And here's a guy that has 70 RBIs. Fought that one off. And I know Torrey keeps himself in great shape. We learned that when he played with the Tigers. He's a fiend when it comes to just working, man. He works as hard as anybody, but still to be able to play this game at the age of 40 at the level he does is really good.
Take a look at Torrey. Active of all outfielders. 1st in games, 3rd in hits, 2nd in homers, 2nd in RBI.
The 0-2. Swing and a miss, and Ryan strikes him out. Torrey out that time. That'll leave the base loaded now. 2 outs.
It's an outstanding breaking ball here thrown by Ryan, buried at the bottom of the zone, which really fooled Hunter. A little nod after Ryan by Torrey Hunter as to say, a good pitch.
He left a few ducks on the pond, and now here is Escobar, who struck out in the first inning. 5 runs on 7 hits for Minnesota.
You know, you and I were talking about this
earlier that the Minnesota Twins are in the position that they're in.
Here's a line drive to right field. That's a base hit. 1 run will score. JD charging it. Will hold Sano at third base, and an RBI single for Escobar.
They're only 1 game back as far as possibly getting to the postseason for the first time since 2010, and they really have not had an everyday shortstop.
No, they've had Escobar, they've had Nunez, they've had Santana, and that's a premium position not to have a guy that dominates.
You don't usually see teams that are in the playoff hunt that really have not had an everyday shortstop. You just don't see it. It's such a, as you mentioned, a vital position, a premium position.
That is the 8th hit for Minnesota. They lead 6-0, and here is Kurt Suzuki. Bases remain loaded. He'll look at strike 1. Twins sent 9 men at the plate in the first. This is the 8th batter here in the second. Suzuki knocked in a run with a base hit in the first inning. Missed inside, and the count levels now. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got a big series opening up in Arlington tonight. Texas and Houston, the top 2 teams in the West, and of course Texas leads that second wild card position.
Those 2 teams are tied 1-1 in the 4th.
Minnesota certainly keeping an eye on that score. Here's a ground ball to short. Ranging right is Romine to get the force. They'll leave him loaded with 2 more runs in. Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Use hashtag Detroit Data Strong Fan, and you just might see yourself in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. So the Tigers here in the 3rd will send Romine, Gose, and Kinsler to the plate. Facing the right-hander Tyler Duffy, who struck out the side in the 2nd. Romine gets his first at bat. He's hit safely in his last 4. First one on the outer edge, strike 1.
I guess word out of the Tigers clubhouse last night that the youngster Dixon Machado, when he tweaked his left hamstring.
Had to leave the ball game. There's a check swing inside. And Machado felt that he'll be able to come back in a couple of days tops. And you know he wants to get back. He wants to play.
He really does. He was getting a golden opportunity.
Pulled on the ground at first. Backhanded play Mauer. Duffy covers, one gone. And the driver's seat is brought to you by Kia. And this season against the Twins, Anthony Gose, well, he has been in the driver's seat.
He got off to an outstanding start to the season against Minnesota Twins pitching. Tigers opened up the season at Comerica Park against the Twins.
Ghost had a walk in the first inning.
That's a shocker. Michael Brantley was on that list.
Ghost takes strike one.
First time I think I've seen a team shift on Anthony Ghost. Their shortstop Escobar is shading him nearly up the middle. But if you think about it, Ghost does hit a lot of balls right back through the center of the diamond.
Yeah, that he does. And I think the numbers probably throughout the course of the year evolve on each player, especially if Ghost begins to start moving up the middle, and the numbers indicate that.
Yeah, here you go, right there. 40 right back through the center of the diamond, and they know that. They're defending him that way.
Here's the 0-2. Bouncing ball to the right side. The second baseman Dozier. Ghost is out, 2 away.
Yeah, the youngster Duffy has really settled in after a shaky start. And when he was able to get Victor Martinez to hit the ball on the ground with the bases loaded, and that got him out of the first inning.
Ian Kinsler, a pop-up in the first. Ian right now sitting on 169 hits, which is third in the American League.
You have arguably two of your better second basemen from an offensive standpoint playing in this contest tonight in Dozier and Ian Kinsler.
Yeah, both have put up outstanding numbers.
Ian was an all-star last year. Dozier an all-star this year.
Slapped to right field on a line and caught on the run by Torrey Hunter.
Man, they got three really good defenders in that outfield.
7 straight retired by Duffy. Stay tuned to Tigers Live. Following the game, we'll select the Fox Sports Detroit Tigers Player of the Game, presented by McDonald's Steak and Egg Burritos. Well, the Twins now will send Byron Buxton to the plate to begin things here in the bottom of the third. Buxton, and then the top of the order will be followed by Hicks and Dozier. First one from Kyle Ryan is strike one.
That's good cut fastball there. 89 miles an hour thrown by Ryan. He started that ball off the plate and it caught the outside corner.
Buxton looks at a strike, make it 0-2.
And Ryan's fastball tops out at about 90. Also throws a slider and a cutter and a changeup. No curveball for Kyle.
Little chopper back to the mound. Ryan will handle it. 1 out, time for a game break now. Here's Trevor Thompson. All right, Trev, we'll keep an eye on that game. I thought he was going to say Kiermaier made a great play or something.
He usually does. That wouldn't have been a shocker.
Here's the top of the lineup now as Hicks looks at a strike. Strike out and a single for Aaron Hicks. He has also scored a run. Ryan's 0-1 pitch. Looked pretty good, a little bit high and outside. One ball and one strike. Outside, running to 2-1 now. Twins went through that road trip into Houston, KC, and Chicago, and they won 5 of 9 on the trip. It's one on the outer edge. 2-2. Ryan replaced the starter. That was Kyle Lobstein, who lasted into the second but could not get through the second. And it's low now. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Dozier on deck. We'll get back into the seats.
You have a couple of guys here tonight, and Anthony Gose and also Aaron Hicks, the batter, who grew up in Los Angeles. And both guys played at the Urban Baseball Academy in Los Angeles. Both guys products of that academy. We're starting to see more and more of the Urban Baseball Academy show up. There's now one in Houston. There's talk of one going into Detroit and Kansas City.
Chopper to first, fair ball. As signaled by Ted Barrett, 2 gone.
Which gives the inner city kids an opportunity to play some organized baseball. I just think it's a marvelous thing that Major League Baseball is starting to incorporate across the country.
It'd be really cool to see it in the Motor City.
Oh, for sure. There's a lot of talk of them putting one of those in Detroit.
Back in the day, a lot of good players came out of Detroit. Bill Freehan, Willie Horton. Brian Dozier now with 2 outs. Walk and a fly out for Dozier. Strike 1. Here's the 0-1 pitch. That'll float outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dozier's career high in RBI is 71. He has 70 right now, so he should without problem surpass that this year with 3 weeks to go. Missed inside. Run the count now to 3-1.
Ryan's got a lot of movement on that cutter. That last one at 90, but a lot of his cut fastballs have been really crowding the right-handed hitters.
Swing and a miss.
Oh my goodness. Look at the action on this fastball. This is a cut fastball. Wow.
Here's the 3-2. He lost him, ball 4 with a 2-out base runner. The Twins now have a man on. We check in with John Keating.
Mario, we were sort of anxious to see how much Minneapolis and St. Paul have embraced this story of the Twins season, because it is somewhat of a surprise to everybody. And the attendance, I think, as we look around, would be, from our perspective anyway, a little disappointing. Right now, Minnesota is 21st in the major leagues in attendance. The Tigers, for all of their disappointments this season, are 8th in the highest attendance. So maybe the Twins find their way into a wild card spot, but at least right now it's a bit of a secret to the folks in Minnesota.
You know, I'm a little bit surprised at that, Keith, because, you know, when you think back to when the Twins were getting in the playoffs at the old Metrodome, they used to pack that joint.
Absolutely.
And then they packed this particular yard as well the first year that they built it, but they really have not had a lot of success on the field up until this year, so fans have kind of stayed away.
It is a weeknight. It is a school night. We get all that. The Vikings are playing later tonight, so maybe some people are holding on to some of their revelry for later in the evening on this Monday night.
There you go. That's right. Forgot about the Vikings tonight. All right, Keats, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been kind of a light crowd here this evening. There's some Vikings fans. 2 balls and no strikes on Joe Mauer. We're playing in the bottom of the 3rd. And Mauer takes one right at the knees, outer edge. 2-1. Been on base twice tonight. Single, double, 2 runs scored for Mauer. Bunching him up the middle. Slice toward left, but foul. That'll rattle around the empty seats. I will say this, though. This is a gorgeous facility, and every season we just love to come to Target Field, one of the nicest facilities on the road.
One of my favorites.
And what makes this place a step above most of the road places is the fact they bring you food in the booth.
That's always a plus. That is always a plus.
Can't beat that. Another foul back out of play.
It's a real cozy ballpark. It's like they built it right on top of you. Kind of goes straight up, real close to the action.
They really didn't have a lot of room to build this ballpark in this area of downtown, so they did a fabulous job of fitting this in here and not making it look like it's crammed into a small spot. Ryan again with the 2-2, and Mauer continues to battle him. Another ground ball foul.
We put up Joe's numbers, career .314 as far as the batting average is concerned, batting titles, MVP. Has he done enough to possibly at some point in time get some Hall of Fame consideration?
Ooh, that's a really good question. He just passed the 1,500 plateau last August in hits in his career.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. But the 3 batting titles in the MVP is awfully impressive. There's a base hit to left. Now the reach of Castellanos, and that'll chase Dozier to second base.
He has a hit into left center field tonight. He also hit a ball to right field his last time up, and then this time he beats the shift and goes right down the line. Castellanos playing 15 and 20 feet off the third baseline and could not make a play on that ball, and that's just what Joe Mauer does. 3 hits in 3 innings.
Well, here's Miguel Sano. He's been on base twice, RBI single and a walk. Sano drills one on the line to left field. Moya makes the basket catch. Hit like a bullet right at him. Twins will strand 2. Receive a free Miguel Cabrera 400th home run figurine. For tickets, call 866-66-TIGER or visit tigers.com. And it's going to be Miggy leading it off here in the 4th inning. Sends a high fly ball into right field, not very deep, as Torrey Hunter comes in. 1 pitch and 1 out. Duffy now has retired 8 straight. He'll bring up J.D. Martinez.
J.D. Martinez has the only hit tonight against Duffy. It was a rocket that he hit to right field and for a solid single.
This game could have a very different complexion to it had the Tigers taken advantage of a bases loaded 1-out situation in the first.
No doubt about that.
And they had Duffy on the ropes early in this game, but Victor bounced into a 4-6-3 double play. That's hammered to center field. Meanwhile, Buxton is on the move and makes a running catch.
Got turned around a little bit, but we talked about his athleticism and his speed, and he makes a nice grab out there.
2 gone.
We thought Hicks, who's playing left field here today, was a pretty good center fielder, but anytime you get a guy like Buxton who turns around and takes a direct route and runs this ball down with sheer athleticism. But Hicks was a really good center fielder himself, but Buxton has pushed him to left field.
So the rookie Buxton a fine play, and that'll bring up Victor Martinez.
Buxton not hitting right now, but Paul Molitor continues to play him because he makes plays like that. And defensively.
Victor a 4-6-3 double play in the first inning. Came into the ball game tonight hitting just 176 in the month of September. Shoots that one back up the middle. There's a base hit with 2 outs. He beat the shift. And with 2 away now, Castellanos. Just the second Tigers hit. They've been out hit 9-2 in this game. Castellanos, one of the 3 strikeout victims in the second when Duffy fanned the side. Ball 1, good block by Suzuki. Duffy is, as we mentioned, from Houston. He went to a high school in Houston that a lot of athletes attended and have gotten to the big leagues. That would be Bel Air High School in Houston. Chuck Knobloch went there, former Twin. Jose Cruz Jr. And in the NBA ranks, Emeka Okafor. There's a strike call, 1-1. And after high school, it was on to Rice, and we all know that Rice has put a lot of players in the big leagues.
Yeah, so he played in a couple of pretty good programs.
Good schools down in Houston, both his high school and college careers. Toward right field, slicing away from Hunter. Torrey is on the run, gets to the corner to make the catch. Tigers get a hit with 2 outs, strand a man. We go to the bottom of the 4th. p.m. with Tigers Live. That's Tigers Twins tomorrow at 7 right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Uber Kids in the house.
How about that?
I ran into some fans today out and about here in Minneapolis that said that they're on a tour of a lot of different ballparks around the Midwest, and this is the latest they're hitting, Target Field. They made their tour through the UP and then went through Wisconsin. They're coming through Minnesota. Always a fun thing to do in the summer. Trevor Plouffe starting things off. Kyle Ryan back to work, and it's rolled toward third base. One gone. That'll bring up Torrey Hunter. You ever do that at all when you were a kid? Make a tour of some different ballparks around the country? They're on the West Coast, though. You weren't really centrally located.
Never had a chance to do that. How about you?
Yeah, we did once in college. We went to St. Louis, Kansas City, little Midwestern tour, Chicago. There's a strike call.
You and some of your college buddies?
Yep.
I bet that was fun.
Oh, we had a good time. Really had a good time.
I'd like to meet some of your college buddies.
No,
They got some good stories on you.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
They have none. You don't need to talk to them at all. No balls, 2 strikes on Kyle Ryan, or on Hunter. Kyle Ryan has kind of quieted things down since coming on.
Mario's buddies in college, give me a call.
Don't you do that. Chop to third base.
One of the reasons why the Minnesota Twins brought Torrey Hunter back is the fact they had youngsters like Buxton and also Hicks, a couple of guys that they knew that Torrey Hunter could mentor. But they also said that they brought him back here to play because they felt like he could help this team win some games. And he's done all of that. And not only has he helped them win a lot of games with his leadership and the way that he plays the game at age 40, but he's really been a nice mentor to a lot of the younger kids too, Buxton and also Hicks.
Did Keating catch that ball?
No, negative. He picked it up after it stopped rolling.
Keats, did you pick that ball up?
After it stopped rolling.
How long have you known me? It was sitting right here at my feet, rattled around a little bit, and I gave it to a young Tiger fan right behind us.
Fan for life.
From the UP, as I understand it.
Excellent.
But Torrey Hunter was talking about when he came to Minnesota as a rookie, he had guys like Kirby Puckett and Dave Winfield who really were able to mentor him and teach him about finances and teach him about everyday big league life. And it's a wonderful thing to be able to pass that kind of knowledge on to other younger players.
Do you think Torrey, when his playing days are done, which we assume will be sometime soon, I mean, he's 40 years old right now, but who knows? I mean, do you think he'll stay in the game to coach?
No, he'll be doing television.
Yeah, that's true.
Personality's way too electric. As a matter of fact, he's already been offered a job by every major network out there.
And the schedule is much better on TV. Less pressure. Doesn't matter if you win or lose. 1-2 is bouncing low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Tigers admit that they missed Torrey Hunter, even some of his teammates, but really there was nowhere for Torrey to play. And with J.D. Martinez in right field, they made the deal to sign Yoenis Cespedes, and no one would argue with that. So there really wasn't an opportunity to bring Torrey back. I don't think he wanted to come back and be a platoon player.
Torrey waiting on the 2-2, and he'll step out.
The Angels also missed Torrey Hunter when he left that organization and signed with the Tigers.
Slap foul back out of play. Well, Hunter has now hit 350 major league homers. He hit his 300th here in Minnesota as a Detroit Tiger.
Yep, sure did.
He's got himself a 9-pitch at bat going right now. Pulled to third base. Castellanos has stepped to his right. A couple of ground ball outs to Nick here in the 4th inning. Now Eduardo Escobar. .50 total now for Kyle Ryan, 33 of which have been strikes.
He's done a nice job coming in after Lobstein only able to go 1 in the 3rd innings here this evening, giving up 5 runs. And Ryan has somewhat saved the bullpen. Ooh.
That's driven deep. Way back to left field. Moya looking up, and it's gone.
Whoa.
Oh, he got all of that one. Escobar with a deep shot to left. 7-0.
It's a little cut fastball that is down, and Escobar was looking down, and he went down to get it and got underneath it and hit it a long way. That reached the second deck.
I think it did. Watch it right here. That guy right there is going to get it. A second deck home run for Eduardo Escobar. 11th homer of the year.
It's kind of funny how when they built this place, they said it wasn't a really friendly place to hit in, but you get yourself some hitters like Sano's and Escobars and, you know, Torrey Hunter coming here, and the kid last year as well. All of a sudden balls fly out of here, and the Tigers have made a living hitting home runs in this ballpark.
Boy, his last 13 against lefties, Escobar has been getting her done.
Oh my goodness.
Tigers now have allowed 174 home runs, which is the most in the majors. The 0-2. He went around, strike three called, and that'll be it for Suzuki and the Twins. Really, says Suzuki? Another run on the homer by Escobar. Myers, save big with M-Perks from Myers. Sign up at mperks.com. And by Chevrolet, find new roads. I will take a burger with mustard, some fries. Pickles on the side if you have it. The concession stand's busy tonight here at Target Field. So is the Twins offense. They lead 7-0. Escobar with a home run. Bottom three coming up for the Tigers here against Duffy. And it's going to be Moya, McCann, and Romine facing the right-hander. Moya checked it. Did he go? Yep. Angel Hernandez down at third said that he went. Moya struck out, one of the 3 strikeouts in the second for Duffy. On the outer edge, now it's 0-2. And he'll step out now. Moya was 2 out of 3 against the Indians. Also had a triple and a walk. Swing and a miss. And down he goes. He fans for the second time. 1 out here in the 5th.
That breaking ball that Mr. Duffy is featuring here tonight is on point. And it is one that we were told we would see a lot of.
4 strikeouts for Duffy.
Every last one of his strikeouts have come on the curveball.
In the minor leagues, he averaged about 7.5 strikeouts per 9. As McCann stands in.
It's one of the things that you always wonder about when guys have really good changeups in the minor leagues, really good curveballs like Duffy has. You wonder if they'll translate once they get to the big leagues and they're seeing better hitters that know how to set you up. And apparently his breaking ball works just fine up here.
He struck out McCann in the 2nd. Hammered back out of play.
And the reason I say that is because a lot of times in the minor leagues, there will be a pitcher that has a really good breaking ball that a lot of the younger hitters just swing at, but they don't swing at that in the majors if you're not throwing it for strikes. Then you're forced into throwing fastballs, and that's where you kind of get beat up. But he's done a nice job so far in his 7 starts.
1-2.
You wonder what they're going to do with him down the stretch, though. He's pitching so well, but he's already at 170 innings pitched this year. They're not going to let him go many more beyond that, so they're going to have to start to watch him very closely down the stretch.
It is a dilemma for a lot of teams. Seeing that with Matt Hardy, saw it with Strasburg. Oh, tough bounce, and Plouffe unable to handle it. Looked like it flattened out on him.
It's the 11th error of the year for Trevor Plouffe. He's got lazy with his feet too.
1 out base runner for the Tigers. Plouffe charged with the E5. We'll bring up Romine. Romine grounded out 3-1 in his first at bat. He'll drive this one toward left center field. Buxton on the move again. Stretching out. Can't get it. It'll roll by Hicks. McCann is on his way to 3rd. They're going to stop in there, and it's going to be a double for Romine. And Buxton almost got to another one.
Tremendous jump here by Buxton. And he nearly makes an outstanding play. And you saw Romine turn around and shake his head at Buxton. No way you're going to catch that ball. And he almost caught it. Look at how much ground he covers. Oh, really?
I thought it was going to hang up long enough for him just to get there. And he very nearly did it. This is the first problem for Duffy since loading the bases with 1 out in the 1st.
And the bottom of the Tigers batting order did a lot of damage in the second game of that doubleheader yesterday. As a matter of fact, they did nice work in the entire series in Cleveland. Whether it was Castellanos, or whether it was Avila yesterday, or Romine, or Machado.
Ghost looks at a strike. 0-1.
McCann had a big day the day before. Well, actually, it was that Friday. McCann had a big day against the Tribe.
Anthony ground out in a walk. Swing and a miss. 0-2. Ghost has been on base now in 11 consecutive games. Swing and a miss. He struck him out.
Oh my goodness. Every last strikeout so far tonight on that breaking ball. He throws some harder than others. Some have a tighter spin. Some will have a bigger break. That last one is the one that he likes to use when he needs the strikeout. He buries that one at the bottom of the strike zone. He also throws a bigger breaking ball, a loopier breaking ball when he's looking for that first strike.
Now Kinsler with 2 outs. Swing and a miss. Duffy was the Twins' number 14 prospect, according to MLB.com, entering play this year.
And not too bad in these situations this year. 2 outs, runners in scoring position, batting .292 this year with a couple of homers.
0-2. And now Duffy a chance to get out of this jam. Cabrera waiting on deck. 7-0 Minnesota. We play in the 5th inning. Ooh, he thought about it. Fishburne biting, and it's 1-2. Pitch count in pretty good shape as well for Duffy. He had just an 8-pitch 4th. Here's the 1-2. It'll bounce in, smothered there by the catcher Suzuki. 2-2.
I wonder if you're Neil Allen, though, the new pitching coach, if it's a concern for you. I know they're trying to watch his innings. He's over 170, but he's throwing a lot of breaking pitches. And that puts a lot of stress
he threw
on the arm.
A ton of them in his last start, and it's like, you know, a lot of sliders. I mean, everybody talks about that, or the forkball, a different pitch that puts stress.
55% fastball, 45% off speed. Another one.
Well, he threw a ton of them in his last start against Houston, piling up 8 strikeouts, and they just couldn't hit it. Tigers have not had much success against it here tonight. Crowd trying to help him out. Bouncing ball to first, and Mauer will handle it there, and the threat is over. Tigers will strand 2, and Tigers baseball tonight presented by Bell Tire. Here at Target Field in Minneapolis, Mario and Pemba, Ron Allen, John Keating at the ballpark here tonight. Glad you are with us. And Ryan goes back to work. A swing and a miss by Byron Buxton. Mark Stefano is our producer tonight. Brian Moss, our director. For this 3-game series here against the Twins, Minnesota took command early with a 4-run first. And they've not trailed tonight. Here's a drive in the air toward left field. Moya is on the run, and Steven gets there in the gap. 1 gone. So Buxton now is 0 for 3. Here's Aaron Hicks. Hicks had a single to get things started in the first inning for the Twins. He is 1 for 3, runs scored. Bouncing ball left side out of the reach of Castellanos. It'll be the second hit of the night for Hicks. A 1-out single. The Twins have yet to go down in order tonight, and that is going to be their 11th hit. Here's Brian Dozier. He does not have a hit, but he's walked twice. And he has scored a run as well. Dozier is on pace this year to score 108 runs. Ball 1.
Only a couple of guys have scored more runs this year than Dozier. 2 of those guys in Toronto, Donaldson and Bautista.
Dozier last year scored 112.
In the last 2 years combined, he has scored more runs than anybody in baseball, Dozier.
Bouncing ball to short. To his right, Romine to second, one of the relay double play. That'll end the inning. It goes 6-4-3. We go to the 6th. Be Cabrera, then Martinez, and Martinez facing the right-hander Duffy, who has struck out 5 in this game. Duffy goes to work in the 6th, then he delivers strike 1.
And last time, Miggy up a fly out to right field on the first pitch thrown to him in that sequence by Duffy.
The 0-1 pitch is outside, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, we told you coming into this contest that Duffy had pitched very well in this ballpark. The batting average against him coming in was just 118. And the opponents were 4 for 34 against him at Target Field.
Ooh, man.
What makes the breaking ball such a good pitch for him? He throws it at different speeds, both sides of the plate. And his fastball's not bad, 92, 93.
Big swing there by Miguel.
Miggy got the fastball that he was looking for and fouled it straight back. He's just not quite right yet.
Cabrera is now 0 for his last 14.
After the breaking ball that he threw inside, he came back with that fastball, and Miggy had a great swing at it.
J.D. Martinez on deck, and then Victor Martinez here in the 6th.
J.D. has hit 2 balls extremely hard here tonight against Duffy.
Took it inside. 3-2.
Duffy wanted it. He gave Chris Conroy, home plate umpire, a nice long look.
Negative. Mr. Foxtrack says no. 3-2. Fly ball, right field. Back goes Torrey Hunter to the warning track, to the wall to make the catch. So Cabrera now is 0 for 2. And it brings up J.D. Martinez. Singled in the 1st. J.D. flied out to center field in the 4th inning. Duffy at one point in this game had retired 9 consecutive Tigers until Victor got a single in the 4th inning. He's been challenged a couple of times. Swing and a miss. 75 now for Duffy. The 0-1. 0-2.
It told you that Duffy waited 7 days in between starts. He's pitching on the 8th day. And they want to make sure they give him a lot of rest. He did throw 2 bullpens in between starts to try to keep him as sharp as possible. And he has been fairly sharp this evening.
Line drive out of the reach of a diving Escobar. That'll be a base hit into left field, and the 2nd hit for J.D. Martinez. It'll bring up Victor Martinez now. We check in with John Keating with a little bit more on Victor.
Mario, I had a fascinating conversation with V-Mart earlier today, and I asked him basically how tough this time of year can be for a team of whom so much was expected this season, and he said not at all. It's not tough at all because everybody in that clubhouse is trying to do their best to win games and to also muddy the water for whoever they're playing, in this case, in this series, the Minnesota Twins. And I mentioned to him, you have said that this is one of your most troubling seasons, and he stopped me. No. The toughest season that I've ever had personally. And the best thing about not being in the postseason, he said, is that it will allow him to start working out sooner. Normally he takes about 4 or 5 weeks off. This year he'll be back to work within 3 weeks of the end of the baseball season.
Well, I know this. I think that Victor Martinez is going to come back and have a really strong year next year. I mean, he was behind the 8-ball rod this year with the knee injury, and I remember talking to him in spring training saying, you know, how do you feel? There are some Tigers fans that are a little bit concerned. He said, don't worry about it. We'll be ready to go.
Yeah, then he started the season, and you could just tell that he just wasn't quite right once he started playing at the tail end of spring training. Brad tried to catch him up by giving him a lot of minor league at-bats in Tiger Town.
That is pulled foul down the right field line. John, did you get any indication that, well, yes, the Tigers have an opportunity to be spoilers in this series, that really Victor is not into that?
Well, he sort of pointed it out that every team has an obligation to do their level best. And yes, they're looking for things to motivate themselves. And so right now, that is what they have in front of them, to motivate themselves. But it's no different if they were playing the Tampa Bay Rays or the Oakland A's or somebody like that. They know the Minnesota Twins are a game out of the wild card situation right now, and they'll try to spoil that as much as they can for the Angels and Rangers who are around them in that category.
Well, the last number of years under Jim Leyland and also Brad Ausmus, that's one of the things the Tigers always wanted, because they were always in contention. Teams that were chasing them, they were hoping that the teams would play their best players. I mean, you have to play your best players, and clearly, even though Victor is struggling and having a very difficult season, he is still a threat when he's in that lineup, and you have to give Victor some credit that he continues to go out there even though he's not quite right.
Well, Nick Castellanos will step in. Keats, thanks very much. Check in with you later. Castellanos is 0 for 2 in this ball game. .249 batting average.
Every single strikeout has come on the breaking ball here today. 6 of those for Duffy.
I don't know. I get back to the point you made last half inning. You just wonder how that will affect a young pitcher with as many breaking balls as he is throwing. That ball's hit pretty well. Torrey's going to turn around on this one. It's going to bang up against the wall. Here comes Martinez to third. They're going to stop him there. And the Tigers now will have runners at second and third.
And Castellanos, he has not seen a fastball that he doesn't like. He got ahead of him with a breaking ball. Then he tried to sneak a fastball by him in the low 90s. And it was barreled up by Castellanos. Short hopped the wall in right field. But J.D. Martinez not able to come around and score. And you're trailing by 7 runs. That's a wise decision by third base coach Dave Clark.
26 two-baggers for Castellanos. That'll bring up Steven Moya. A couple of strikeouts for Steven in this game.
Steven knows exactly what he's going to get.
It's going to have a wrinkle in it, won't it?
It might not be smart. It might be smart to sit on one first 2 pitches.
Swing and a miss right through the breaking ball.
Yep. I mean, you kind of know he's going to throw it to you.
Tigers threatened but did not score in the first. Likewise, they put a couple of men on in the 5th but couldn't score. Wave and a miss again by Moya. Well, if it keeps working, keep going back to it.
Well, he can throw Moya anything right now. He's going to swing through it. This is one of those nights. He can throw a fastball up around the letters. He doesn't have to throw a breaking ball here.
Here's the 0-2. And he chased it, a breaking ball in the dirt, and he carved him up. Moya strikes out for the 3rd time tonight. 7 punch-outs for Tyler Duffy. At the #1 app for live baseball that batters up to the moment at any moment with in-game highlights, live look-ins, replay reviews, and a whole lot more. Get MLB.com at bat for your smartphone or tablet. So here come the Twins now as we head to the bottom of the 6th inning. Kyle Ryan goes back out there. And Ryan delivers a fastball on the edge, strike one.
Yeah, Ryan has thrown 60 pitches so far here tonight, and he has thrown as many as 76 in a relief appearance this year. His line not bad today, 1 earned run.
Mauer's had a good game, 3 hits. He's also scored a couple of runs. Here's the 1-1 pitch. A bouncing ball to second. That'll be routine for Kinsler. 1 gone. Time for a game break. Trevor Thompson. All right, Trev, thanks.
Lots of interesting races going on in baseball. And the one between Toronto Blue Jays and the Yankees. Of course, the Minnesota Twins looking at a wild card. And then you have what's going on in the National League as well. St. Louis coming back to the pack a little bit.
And the Cardinals have gone 3-7 over their last 10. Here's the 0-1 to Sano, who fouls it back out of play. 0-2. Sano singled in a run in the second. He's also walked and scored a run. In fact, he was the last batter that the starter Lopstein faced. His base hit made it 5-0. That one just missed.
And Sano is from the Dominican San Pedro de Macorís, his hometown. A lot of really good players have come from San Pedro.
Swing and a miss.
I played winter ball there one season and had a blast. Just had a lot of fun playing winter ball there.
Was that your favorite stop in winter ball, period?
It was. It really was. Then I went back there the next year and played for La Romana, which was like on the beach, and we stayed at Campo de Casa, one of them names. I don't know. I'll get it. But anyway, we stayed at a really nice resort, and it was great.
There's a strike called on the right-handed batting Trevor Plouffe. I still maintain if you're going to play winter ball, you might as well do it on the beach.
Yes, indeed.
Here's a strike on Plouffe. 0-2 the count. Plouffe, a 2-run double, key hit early in this game in that 4-run first as Ryan straightens him up. 1-2. Kyle has surrendered an RBI single and a home run, both to Escobar, but pretty much is it. He's about to throw his 69th pitch in relief. Soft ground ball to second base. Easy play for Kinsler. Easy inning for Kyle Ryan. 1-2-3 they go.
breaking ball here tonight. He's thrown it at different speeds. He's thrown some inside. He's thrown some outside. You know a guy has a really good breaking ball, and that's all we were told that he would throw tonight. The Tigers are watching some video on him before the game today. They could see he was throwing a lot of breaking balls, but yet no one really able to barrel up that breaking ball here tonight.
6 innings. He's thrown 86 pitches, 5 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts.
Casa de Campo is where we stayed in La Romana, the hotel where they put us up at. It's kind of a tongue twister there.
Kind of.
What I call it? Casa de Casa?
Campo, Casa de, I don't even know what you call it.
That's house to the house. Casa de Casa. Home to home.
Oh, McCann, Romine, and Ghosts here in the 7th. I think you said Casa de Campo, but I'm not sure. Ooh, that ball is hammered to center field. Buxton is on his horse, still going back. He's not going to get this one up against the 411 mark. McCann is on his way to third, and he is in there with a sliding triple.
I thought for a moment that was going to bounce far enough away from Buxton, which would allow McCann to hit his 2nd inside the park home run in this ballpark. He hit his first career home run here, and it was inside the park. Buxton took off for this ball in left center field and pulled up. It hit out there off the 411 sign. It trickled to the right, but Buxton so fast, able to run it down, and McCann will settle for a triple. Well, we might as well flash back and show it to you since I brought it up. April 29th. Go, young man, go.
First major league home run comes as an inside the park home run. That is odd for a fast guy, let alone a catcher. So now the Tigers have a chance to get their first run in. Romine, the batter. Andrew grounds one foul.
McCann has 6 triples. 6 triples.
Really?
Well, the Tigers lead baseball in triples, or at least the American League in triples.
It's pretty good. 6-3 baggers. I mean, Rajay has 9, and he can really run.
That is the 45th triple of the season, and check that, McCann has 5, not 6.
Okay, still pretty good.
But 45 leads the majors.
Comerica Park is a good triples ballpark. You shoot the ball to the gap in right center, it goes all the way out to the triangle, and you're off to the races. There's activity now. Casey Fiend, Neil Cox, the righty-lefty combo. Blocked by Suzuki. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Top of the order, Ghost waiting on deck. Bouncing ball right side. This will get the run in. Pitcher will cover for the out. Romine gets an RBI. It's 7-1. So the Tigers get on the board. Romine RBI number 14. Let's bring up Anthony Gose. Strikeout, ground out, walk for Gose in this game. Duffy heading toward 100. This will be his 95th pitch, and it's ball 1. .97 in his last start, and that was a season high for Tyler Duffy. That's back up the middle into center, base hit.
Oh, we showed you earlier. And Gose had 40 hits up the middle. Now he's got 41 hits up the middle. Just a solid single. Last time Gose was up, Escobar, the shortstop, was playing him up the middle. That time he wasn't.
He had it played perfectly the other time. Paul Molitor coming out, and it appears that'll be it for Mr. Tyler Duffy. He'll depart to a nice round of applause. It is a wall side windows pitching change. Gotten a run. James McCann got things started here with a 3-base hit, and as Herat mentioned, 5 triples this year, which is second most among catchers in the last 40 seasons. That's what kind of year McCann has had. JT Realmuto with 6 for the Marlins.
Glad you said it.
I just took a shot. I don't even know if that's right.
He was going to be JT to me. We know another JT too.
He signs the checks. Casey Fiend coming in. Fiend appearing in his 55th ball game. Kinsler shoots one foul to third base. 0-1. Nice pick down there.
Made it look easy too, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Nonchalant.
He's played some ball.
Caught it out front.
Bare hand down. Nice play. Kinsler is 0 for 3. High fly ball. Left field line. And this one is going to be caught on the run by Hicks.
There ain't much going to drop in this outfield. Even though Torrey Hunter is 40 years old and he's slowed down a bit, he can still cover quite a bit of ground in the outfield. Buxton covers a tremendous amount of real estate, and Hicks is a center fielder by trade, so they have a really good defensive outfield. And all 3 of those guys have really good throwing arms too.
So with 2 outs, it brings up Miguel Cabrera. Ball 1 to Miggy.
And Fiend has a fastball that gets up to about 92. That would be the 4-seamer. He also has a slider. He'll cut the fastball a lot of times as well. Not many curveballs, not many changeups thrown by Casey Fiend. Most of his stuff is hard stuff.
Tigers have action in their bullpen. Farrell, the right-hander, heating up. Cabrera at 339 now. Still a comfortable lead for the batting title, but it's getting a little bit more snug by the day. And Miggy with his 0 for 2 tonight is now 0 for his last 15. Ahead of the count, 2 balls, no strikes against the former Tiger, Casey Fiend. Three-0. J.D. Martinez on deck. Strike called as Cabrera was about to discard the bat. Chris Conroy said it was a strike. 3-1. And that is ball 4. 2-out walk for Cabrera, his second walk in this game. We'll put him at first and second. And it brings up J.D. Martinez. A couple of singles in this game for J.D. He's got his average up to 287.
He's also closing in on 100 RBI this year. And 40 homers as well is a possibility this season for J.D. The only other Tiger outfielder in their history to hit 40 or more home runs in a season, Rocky Colavito. Whoa, he hit 45.
0-1. Fouled straight back. No balls. 2 strikes on J.D. Martinez. Twins got 4 in the first. They added 2 more in the second and 1 in the fourth. The Tigers have gotten their only run so far in this inning. Triple by McCann. Ground out by Romine. Now Fiend has him down in the count 0-2, and he just missed. Fiend was walking off the mound.
He was off the mound. He was on the grass.
So was the rest of the infield. They were moving as well. Just missed. Here's the 1-2. Ooh, just got a piece staying alive.
Those are cut fastballs that Fiend is throwing at 89 miles an hour. They've got some real good movement to them. The cutter has kind of been the pitch of choice the last number of years. Used to be the 2-seamer. And guys moving the 2-seamer down and in the right-handers. But then a lot of guys have adopted the theory of the cutter. Takes a little bit more stress off the arm. Not as much stress throwing that pitch as it is throwing the slider. And many of the guys' cutters kind of act like sliders these days.
Swing and a miss. J.D. is down, and so are the Tigers. They will settle for 1 run. Stretch time here in Minneapolis.
Well, we told you last night at the end of the game that we thought Drew Verhagen was about to record his first major league win. Of course, to some degree, it's up to the whims of the official score. And after the game, it was revealed that, yes, Verhagen got the win. And as soon as he found his way into the Tigers clubhouse, he got the beer shower, which is certainly a Tiger tradition. He loved it. It knocked him down onto a couch, and the beer went everywhere. The food that he had in his hand went everywhere. But it's a moment he'll never forget. And then, of course, his cell phone blew up. How many calls or texts would you think a young man would get after his first major league win? He said it was in the hundreds.
Whoa.
The hundreds.
Got a lot of friends.
Between Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all those various social media.
He's a well-liked young man.
Yeah, congratulations to Drew Verhagen. That night in Cleveland, the second game of the double dip, will be a night that he'll never forget.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised that after the game, when you did interview him, that he wasn't aware that they were going to give him the win, because I didn't think there was any question that he was going to get the win in that particular game.
Know.
But you're right.
He didn't know. And in fact, I was watching the game with Jim Leland in the press box upstairs before we made our way down, and Leland was the one that pointed out it's Verhagen's game. He's going to get his first major league win. And
I see how you roll. You roll with Leland.
Yeah,
now,
right.
Huh? Okay.
And in fact, Leland was reminding Verhagen of that earlier today. Yeah, I called it. Tell him, John. Tell him I called it. I called your first major league win.
How about Keats hanging out
with the skipper? Yep, might as well. All right, Keats, thanks.
You got it.
Congratulations to Verhagen, who really, Rod, has done a fabulous job.
Yeah, he really has. He has pitched well enough to obviously go into spring training next year as one of the front runners to at least be on the pitching staff.
Farrell is the new pitcher for the Tigers here in the bottom of the seventh.
Now, whether that be a starter or that will it be with a reliever, he has definitely so far left a really nice taste in Brad Ausmus's mouth.
Hunter is leading it off here in the bottom of the seventh, and Torrey sprays one foul back out of play.
I went into the Twins clubhouse today to give Torrey a hug and to say hello, and I said, "You going to play next year?" And he said, "No, I'm not playing next year." There's quite a few media people around, and you should have saw them perk up. They got the pads out and the pencils out, and they said, "He's just messing with you. He might play next year." But Torrey was joking, but he had that big laugh, big smile on his face when he was telling me, "No, I'm going to shut it down."
Here's a base hit for Torrey Hunter. He'll lead things off here in the seventh inning with a single.
Now here's Verhagen. Well, we talked about the fact that he got his first major league win last night in Cleveland, but the stuff that he has been featuring, real good fastball, anywhere from 92 to 96 miles an hour. Nice breaking ball as well when he gets the ball to the bottom of the strike zone. Also has a splitter on occasion, gets lots of ground balls. Did walk a couple in that game last night, but by and large, just a terrific effort turned in by Verhagen once again.
Through 30 pitches in relief to get his first major league win. Again, congratulations, Mr. Verhagen. Escobar the batter, and he looks at the ball low. Been a good night for Escobar. He has homered and singled and driven in a couple of runs. And now a total of 50 runs driven in this year for Eduardo Escobar.
I guess he's kind of taken that shortstop position and kind of run with it the last number of days.
This might be a double play. 3-6-3. Nicely turned by Miguel.
This is a really good play, and it's one of the plays that I know Jim Leland used to talk to Miggy about when he started playing first base. When you do get the ball, it's a double play situation. Make sure you make a good throw first. You make a good throw. The pitcher's going to be there, but you have to give the shortstop a good feed. And then if you can get back to the bag yourself, you do that. But if you can't get there, then the pitcher will be there. You saw Farrell headed in that direction, and he could have finished the double play too. Miggy's a really good thrower from, well, anywhere. Third base, first base, and very accurate.
Underrated. Driven right into the glove of Romine. Hard hit ball for Suzuki. We'll go to the eighth here in Minnesota.
velocity and only lasted 1 1/3 inning, and he went on to pitch 4 2/3 innings and did a really nice job in the game and really kind of saved the bullpen. Cut fastball, nice breaking ball, good changeup. He did nice work today. Gave up only 4 hits, 3 strikeouts. He did walk 2. His 8th relief appearance.
And it's for a Tigers bullpen that has struggled this year. They came in with a 4.63 ERA, which was last in the American League. But a nice job tonight by Ryan. Tigers coming up now as we go to the top of the 8th. 7-1 is our score. The Twins have the lead. Martinez, Castellanos, Moya, the hitters here in the 8th. Victor had a single in his middle at bat. He's 1 for 3 tonight. Casey Fiend came on in the 7th inning and got the final 2 outs. He's back to work here in the 8th. And Ben's in for a strike. Martinez just a couple of hits in that series against the Indians. There's a ball outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. High fly ball, shallow right field. Torrey Hunter is not going to make the play. Dozier in front of him. 1 gone. It's a pop up to second base. Well, as promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Detroit Data Strong Fan for a chance to have it featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile.
Chewbacca.
Here's your buddy. I can't wait for him to roll into the booth.
Oh boy.
1 out, and here is Castellanos. Ball 1.
I had to YouTube that video from me and Chewbacca back in the day. It's still quite funny.
1 ball and no strikes. There's a fly ball to right field. Here comes Hunter on the charge, and it's going to drop into the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tomorrow the Tigers will be getting together again with the Twins. Game 2 in the series. You'll see it right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Our coverage begins at 7 p.m. with Tigers Live. Tune it in right here on Fox Sports Detroit. Well, Bruce Rondon, according to Brad Ausmus, was going to get into the ballgame tonight regardless of the score, and there he is warming up. It's been a while since he has pitched. One on Castellanos. 1-2 on Nick. Doubled in his last at bat. Tigers stranded him though.
Nothing fancy as far as Casey Fiend is concerned. Lots of fastballs, lots of cutters, everything hard.
Fiend replaced Duffy, who went 6 1/3 in this game, through 96 pitches in his starting effort tonight for the Twins.
Their bullpen has been pretty good lately, especially the back end of their bullpen. You got Fiend in the 7th. You got May now in the 8th, who's been tremendous in that role. And you now have Jepson, who's closing games for them because Perkins has been battling some back spasms for about 3 weeks now, off and on. They haven't missed a beat, though.
Jepson, nice pickup for them. Twins typically in the trade deadline area really haven't done a whole lot. They're rolling with a young team, a talented team that still has some veteran leadership. We talked about it at the top of the broadcast. Guys like Hunter and Bauer. Perkins, though, not able to participate at the back end of their pen.
Do you know where Morneau has been this year, Mario? I really haven't heard his name at all.
No, I have not actually. It's a good question.
No, I know he's in Colorado, but I'm wondering if
I haven't
heard his name at all.
Don't know if he's been hurt.
He won a batting title last year, or nearly won a batting title.
2 gone now for Steven Moya. It's been a tough night for Moya. His fan 3 times as he checks his swing, strike 1.
Well, he's getting a steady diet of breaking balls, and he's going to continue to get breaking balls until he shows that he can hit the breaking ball. He's seen 10 pitches so far here, 11 now today, 8 of which have been off-speed pitches. Make that 9 of 12.
Getting word on your Morneau question. He is still with the Rockies. We knew that. It's just a matter of we haven't heard his name. He's played in only 35 games. He's missed the last 2.5 months. Ball high to Moya. 1-2. Two on, nobody on in the 8th. Here's the 1-2. Ooh, tough night. Struck him out looking, and Steven fans for the 4th time tonight. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th. Here is our Comerica Bank game summary tonight. All Minnesota in this one. 7-1 is our score. Joe Mauer has had a big night. 3 out of 4 with a double, and you scored a couple of runs. Tigers have had a couple of bright spots. Ryan was really good out of the bullpen. James McCann, his 5th triple of the season. That came in the 7th inning.
And Chevrolet brings you the high-strength steel, and it was Byron Buxton. This was back in the 4th inning with 1 out. J.D. Martinez made a bid for a double. He turned the wrong way initially, but that blazing speed allowed him to catch up to this ball and make a really nice play and take the 3rd hit of the evening away from Martinez.
And it'll be Buxton starting things off here against Bruce Rondon, the new Tigers pitcher. Buxton is 0 for 3. Pop up, ground out, fly out. Rondon delivers a 99-mile-an-hour fastball outside. Numbers on Bruce.
31st game for Bruce Rondon. Yeah, 6.23 ERA. Yeah, whip was over 1.5. And for the stuff that he has, those numbers are not very favorable for him. At 99 to 102 with the heater. He'll sink the fastball every now and then. He also has a changeup and a slider.
We'll get back out of play. 2-2 now on Buxton. Hicks and then Dozier to follow here in the bottom of the 8th inning as Rondon replaces Kyle Ryan. Little chopper back up the middle. Romine charging, gonna have to hurry. Buxton is safe. He can really run.
Even though he's not really barreling up the ball these days, he's playing stellar defensively. And when he does hit the ball on the ground, you better hurry and get it across the diamond, or he's going to get an infield single. He's got blazing speed.
Romine can't make that play any quicker.
Average speed for a right-handed batter down the first baseline is about 4.2. Buxton probably was about 3.8 running from the right side.
Well, there's something maybe going on here with Rondon. Here is Kevin Rand coming out to take a look. Chris Conroy, the home plate umpire, is out there to make sure this is a medical visit only and no strategy is talked. Bruce has convinced Kevin he's okay. Meanwhile, it's Ian Kroll heating up in the Detroit bullpen. So Buxton is on. That'll bring up the top of the lineup now, Aaron Hicks.
And first time Hicks has batted left-handed this evening.
Strike called.
Nothing wrong with his arm, that's for sure.
Apparently not.
It's 100 miles an hour.
This should be all the proof you need that he's okay.
Well, Xfinity.
That's a surprise.
100 miles an hour. They know that Xfinity knows when to give us that high-speed pitch, don't they?
It's uncanny, isn't it?
They know when to show up.
Chopper slowly towards second base. Kinsler tried to make the tag, couldn't do it. They'll get the out at first base. Buxton will advance. One on, one out, and a shot now for Dozier. Dozier hit into a double play in his last at bat. He's been on base twice in this game, couple of walks. And that is in there for a strike. Dozier's 70 RBIs, trying to equal his high of 71. Got a chance here with a base hit. Instead, Rondon comes inside on his hands. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Rondon with the 1-1. Lifted back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Tigers in this game have been out hit 13-7, but major problems for them early in this game. Twins got 4 in the first, 2 in the second. Driven in the air to left field. Moya going back. Edge of the warning track to make the catch. 2 gone.
Let's take a look at the big boy, big play of the game. I'm going to show a little love to the West Michigan Whitecaps, who have advanced to the Midwest League A championship versus Cedar Rapids. It'll be a best-of-5 series. They defeated Lansing tonight 14-5 in Game 3. How about this, Mario? Every single batter in the West Michigan Whitecap lineup tonight had at least 1 hit.
Oh, man. Congratulations to Andrew Graham and the job he's done with West Michigan. Christian Stewart had a big night, 4 for 5. So congratulations. They will take on Cedar Rapids, the Colonels. Some good news. The Tigers farm system. With 2 outs, here is Joe Mauer. Mauer's had a big night, 3 out of 4 double, couple of singles, couple of runs. Now Rondon will step off. The Twins, as we mentioned, are chasing the Texas Rangers for the 2nd wild card position, and Prince Fielder has just hit a home run in the bottom of the 8th to put Texas up 5-3. Here's the 1-0 pitch.
Just another footnote to the Cedar Rapids A-ball team. It's an affiliate of the Minnesota Twins, and it's also managed by, I told you earlier if you were listening, Joe Mauer's brother. He is the manager of that Cedar Rapids team.
So it's the Tigers Twins final.
Jake Mauer.
The 2-0 pitch is lined to left field. Moya makes the play. And the side retired will go to the 9th inning here in Minnesota. The 9th.
And Menards brings you the big money encounter. We told you that James McCann back in April in this ballpark, his first home run was an inside the park home run. We're going to speed it up. That's just how fast James McCann is. And then tonight, a carom off the 411 sign over the head of Buxton, their center fielder, and he triples for the 5th time, and he speeds up again.
His legs were a blur.
I like how they kind of slowed it down and coasted into the slide, though.
Very nicely done. Well, the Tigers down to their final 3 outs. Neil Kotz coming in out of the bullpen.
A few years ago, Neil Kotz was pitching some outstanding baseball out of the bullpen for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Had a big arm, fastball, got up into the mid-90s. Only 8 games this year with the Twinkies.
First one is high and away. 1 ball and no strikes on James McCann. Here's a strike called. Some defensive changes now for Minnesota. They have a new left fielder. That'll be Shane Robinson, who is in left, and Aaron Hicks has moved to right with Torrey Hunter out of the game.
And they got the veteran Torrey Hunter off his feet for a half inning. Torrey's been playing every day. One of the things that Paul Molitor has tried to do all season with Torrey is make sure that he keeps him as fresh as possible at the age that he's at.
McCann, Romine, and then Ghosts in a 7-1 game. Little pop up and caught by the shortstop. Escobar, 1 gone. Cott's had some of his better years with the Chicago White Sox. Had a really good year in 2005 when he had a 1.94 ERA in 69 appearances. Romine with a double. He has also knocked one in with the ground out. He'll look at his strikes. Switch hitter batting right-handed. It'll bounce in.
My bad. I had him pitching for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I thought he pitched out of their bullpen, but that's where we knew Koch from White Sox days.
Yeah, White Sox, Cubs, Texas, and Milwaukee. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1 the count.
Ooh.
And look out.
Goodness gracious.
2-2.
Wave the white flags, you know. Man, that thing got over there in a hurry.
Foul tip into the glove. That'll be strike 3. Romine is out, and there are 2 gone. So the Tigers out of their final out as Anthony Gose comes strolling in.
One of the things the Tigers just really have not been able to do, well, really the entire year, with the exception of maybe the first couple of weeks of the season, and that's put together any kind of lengthy winning streaks at all.
Seems like every time they get 1 or 2 or 3 in a row, it just comes to a screeching halt. Swing and a miss.
Well, it's all about the pitching. It really is. And Tigers dead last in pitching in the American League. They're one of the poorer pitching teams in all of baseball. And usually, you know, those teams don't make it to the playoffs. So.
You know, the Tigers had won those 2 games in Chicago against the Cubs. They came home, beat Texas, had 3 in a row going, and you figured, all right, they might take off there, but then the club immediately lost 4 straight.
Then so win 1, lose 1, win 1, lose 1.
Which makes it impossible to gain ground. And they've left 9 more men on base in this game tonight. Ghost looks at a ball high.
A golden opportunity in the very first inning when they loaded the bases against the rookie Duffy. But a double play ended that inning.
Here's a 2-1. All 9 Twin starters tonight have reached base safely. Dozier, the only one that hasn't had a hit. They've all reached base with a hit except Dozier, has had a couple of walks. Two and 2 on Anthony Gose. Will stay alive. Twins trying to win their 4th consecutive game against the Tigers. Chopped right in front of the plate. Suzuki going to let it roll, and there will be no play. Infield single for Gose, his second hit tonight.
Yeah, a little miscommunication here between Suzuki and Kotz, but even if they were able to pick it up cleanly, they weren't going to get Gose. Gose can really run. As a matter of fact, he can fly.
That'll keep it going now for Kinsler. Ian does not have a hit tonight. And he'll look at ball one. Fly ball, right field, should do it. Hicks under it, and the Twins win game one of the series. And they do it rather convincingly. 7-1 the final score. Minnesota a winner tonight. We'll update the wild card standings. Right now Minnesota just a half game behind Texas, but again the Rangers are leading their game tonight in the 9th inning. And we'll be back to Target Field here in Minneapolis.